about the right time to pray tahajjud. We have a big umbrella that is called night prayer. And night prayer is any prayer you pray after Isha until the adhan of Fajr, which is the break of dawn. So all of this is called night prayer. Now, underneath this umbrella, you have something called Taraweeh. And Taraweeh is any prayer prayed in congregation in the masjid during the nights of Ramadan after Isha. Then we have something called Tahajjud. And usually Tahajjud is anything prayed at the night time prayer, providing that is preceded by sleeping. So if someone prays Al-Isha and goes to bed and wakes up at, let's say, 12 o'clock, this is, and he starts to pray, this is called Tahajjud. And the best time for Tahajjud is the last third of the night. And how do we recognize the last third of the night? By calculating the time from sunset till the break of dawn and dividing it over 3. The last third before Fajr is called the last third of the night, and this is the best time for Tahajjud. Neela from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, which one is better for night prayers? Holding the mushaf and reciting long surahs with less khushu, or reciting the same 2 surah out of memory with more khushu? Barakallahu fikum.
Ufikum barakallah. This is a question that so many people ask frequently in Ramadan. What is best, quality or quantity? Now, scholars differ, but the most authentic opinion that is logical, and according to the scholars as well, is that quality always comes first. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us about the Khawarij, and he told us how we resent and look down upon our own forms of worship compared to theirs. So they prolong their salat, they fast long days, where we would think that, what are we compared to them? And they recite the Quran day in, day out. And the Prophet said their Quran does not exceed their throats, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Quantity is not essential. It has no value. The Prophet said it's 0. Quality is what counts. When you ponder upon one ayah, repeating it like the Prophet used to do, alayhi salam, with the dua of Prophet Isa and Prophet Ibrahim, in tu'adhibhum fa innahum ibaduk. And he keeps on repeating it and pondering upon it. This is quality. Now, in Ramadan, there are so many reports that the Salaf used to recite a lot of the Quran, 10 times, 20 times. Assuming these reports are valid and correct, they used to ponder on what they recite because they knew the meanings of it. So they went for quality and quantity. For us, it is best for us to recite and ponder with quality rather than just focus on the quantity. Revising only two surahs from your memory at times may work for a day or two, but then a person would become habitual with it and it would become standards that he doesn't pay attention to. That's why reading it from the Quran with trying to ponder upon the verses and to ask Allah for forgiveness when you pass by an ayah of hope and mercy, and ask Allah for refuge when you pass by an ayah of torment, that would be way better, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. How many rak'ahs do we pray Taraweeh? Scholars differed. Some say 41. Others say 39. Some say 23, as prayed in the haram. And some say 13, and some say 11. So which one should we take? Well, those who restrict themselves and their followers to pray 11, they quote the hadith of Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when one of the tabi'een said to her or asked her, how many rak'ah did the Prophet ﷺ pray in Ramadan? She said, the Prophet did not pray ﷺ in Ramadan nor outside Ramadan more than 11 rak'ah. So those who specify only 11 rak'ahs to be prayed, take this hadith, which was reported in Sahih Imam Muslim, and hold it as an evidence. Not knowing, or knowing, but neglecting, that Mother Aisha herself said that the Prophet used to pray at night, ﷺ, 13 rak'ah. In the hadith of Ibn Abbas, he said that the Prophet ﷺ used to pray 13 rak'ahs per night. So it's either 11 or 13. But is there any problem in increasing that? It's an issue of dispute. Some say it is totally prohibited. And their allegation is not so strong. They say that the Prophet did not pray more than 11, but we know that he prayed 13. Let us assume he did not pray more than 11. Does this mean that it is not permissible to add? There's no restriction in adding. For example, how many times did the Prophet ﷺ perform Hajj in his life? Once. So if I have the ability to perform it once every 5 years, or if I am always invited every year to a camp in Hajj, and I have the luxury of performing it once a year, do you say that I shouldn't do that because the Prophet only performed Hajj once in his life? No, of course we don't say that. So, touche. Not only that, when the Prophet ﷺ was giving khutbah, a nomad, a Bedouin, came and interrupted him and said, "O Muhammad, tell me about night prayer." So the Prophet ﷺ answered him. He said, night prayer is to be prayed in two. Salatul layli mathna mathna. He gave him the format, not the count, not the number. And then he said, if you feared Fajr, then offer 1 rak'ah witr. And the man left. Now we know that if the number was essential, the Prophet would not have, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, delayed explaining it. He would have called the man and said, come. The format is 2, but you should not increase more than 11. Because the Prophet did not say this, alayhi salatu salam, we now understand that the sky is the limit. So you want to pray 20 and pray 1 rak'ah witr or 3 rak'ah witr? No problem.